7 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started with the work session. The Raymore City Council for Monday, November the 20th. Tonight is our joint meeting with the Raymore Chamber of Commerce. And so in order for us to kind of know who's all here at the table, we'll go ahead and just go around a room. I'm Mayor Turnbow, and Derek, go ahead.
I am from Ward 2, City Councilman Derek Moorhead.
Ward 4, City Councilman John Berenson.
Patrick Avila, COO at Belton Regional. I'm on the Chamber Board.
I'm Eric Collins with Collins & Jones Law Firm. I'm the current president of the Chamber.
I'm Fallon Solscheid. I am a member at large for the Raymore Chamber and with Community Bank of Raymore.
Jay Holman, Ward 3, City Council.
Kevin Barber, Ward 3, City Council.
I'm Sonia Abdelgawad, and I'm a Ward 4 representative on the City Council.
Councilmember Joe Burke, Ward 2.
Councilmember Kevin Kellogg, Ward 1.
Councilmember Reginald Townsend, Ward 1.
Good, Jonathan.
Jonathan Zera, City Attorney.
I'm kind of half and half tonight. So half of me is the Economic Development Director for the City of Raymore. The other half is a board member of the Raymore Chamber.
Jim Fairborn, City Manager.
And the other half of me is also on the board of the Chamber. So we'll go ahead and start off and let Mr. Collins, I think you have a presentation for us tonight.
Presentation might be strong. I do want to start, though. I need to, well, first of all, apologize, because this is the third joint Chamber-City meeting that I've attended and been the primary presenter, so I don't know what sort of things you folks have done to deserve that, but I'm rolling off the board in just a couple short weeks, so I promise you next year it will be someone other than me in this chair. I also want to make up for an error that I made during our last joint meeting. I announced all of the Chamber board members in the room, but with the exception of the mayor and Matt Tapp. And so I want to say sorry for that, and those two gentlemen have been a great asset to me as not just the Chamber president, but the Chamber as a whole. They bring a lot of great ideas and insight to our board. Really help us to focus on kind of the partnership that I view the Raymore Chamber of Commerce and the City of Raymore having. And with that, you know, the city last year increased its allotment of support to the Chamber, and just want to say thank you for that. That money has been very helpful in increasing our ability to do things through our programs, and we appreciate the support. One of the things that we used that extra revenue to do was develop a new website, and that came online earlier this year. I think it was still in the planning and production stages when I was here last. If you get a chance, go out and take a look at that. Very well designed. We have has a listing of all our member businesses, hot link to each member's individual private web page. Also has some advertising space on it that we can sell at, I think, a very fair and favorable rate to our members. And so that's something that we feel has added a lot of functionality and capabilities around our calendaring and keeping folks aware of what we're up to. And so thank you again for that support, because you made a lot of things possible this year that wouldn't otherwise be. Would also be remiss not to thank the city for this fantastic Centerview building across the way. We've held our last 2, if not 3, membership luncheons there. Great space, love it. We don't get anything but positive feedback about the space. I hear more and more out in the community, folks talking about it, excited about it. Some of the doors that's going to open up, I think, for our community in terms of event space and gathering space that, you know, I've said in this chamber before and heard folks talk about that as a need that we have. One of the things the chamber is doing to try to help the city with marketing that space is that we maintain some promotional packets over in the chamber office, and Sherry and Debbie, when folks come in looking for a place, are quick to hand those out. So we're trying to do our best to get the word about that out there and make sure folks are aware. So kudos on a job well done. It's a fantastic space. You know, we've done, I think, 3 of these meetings in the last 12 months, and so I don't ever want to bore anyone too bad. So I thought I'd talk to you a little bit tonight about what a couple of the things that the Chamber has done, we think, to sort of highlight the city, pique folks' interest in the city, And one of those is a new resident mailing. And is everyone here aware that the chamber sends out a new resident mailing, just by nods or, okay. Well, every month, and I don't know how the process happens, but someone on city staff makes available some reports, I think, that the city maintains, makes those available to Sherry, and then Sherry and Debbie in the office assemble what we call new resident mailings. And it's just a packet of information that contains advertising, promotional information from our businesses. So it might be coupons, refrigerator magnets, and the like. And we send those out every month to anyone that's newly moved into the city. And as of right now, we've sent out over 1,000 of those for this year. So we're doing a lot of things to get our member information, our city information out to folks who are new to the area and make them aware of what opportunities exist out there in the community. Included in that is a community guide. And I don't know if everyone here has seen the community guide, but the chamber publishes that every other year. And it's a very well put together publication. Dr. Monsas and the Ray-Pec High School journalism department, graphic imaging department, I'm not sure who all has hands in that, they take primary responsibility for designing that publication, from photo selection down to content, publishing it and getting it out to the printers to be distributed, at chamber events and then through our new resident mailings. Fantastic quality article. I think it's a real nice piece, and that's also included in every one of the mailers that go out. It's also located strategically throughout town for folks to see. You can flip through there, find out about area businesses, area attractions, important contact information. So it's something that we're very proud of the quality that thing has taken on over the years, and are really starting to see a lot of positive feedback from our members and the opportunity for them to, again, advertise within those pages. But without the high school and Dr. Monsas, it's another great partnership we have, just like what I feel like we have with the city. The high school has been great to support us, and we appreciate it very much. Our chamber is growing. We're at a time where you see a lot of articles, and I think the statistics would say that the majority of chambers are starting to diminish in terms of membership and reach. We have had a goal the last 2 years to attain 200 chamber members. Last year we finished the year with 181. As we sit here right now, we're at 199, and I have it up on good authority that we're going to cross that threshold with some room to spare. So we're very excited about that, very excited to see what seems to be a resurgence, at least in this community, and interest in the chamber and what we bring to bear for our business members. With that, again, I just want to say thank you. We look forward to a continued partnership with the city. We thank the city for all that it's done for us. And if I, and I'll speak on behalf of the balance of the chamber board members here, can ever be of assistance or you have any questions, we'd appreciate it. Just reach out, and we're happy to help however we can. So thank you.
Does anybody have any questions of the chamber at this time to help promote I mean, they've done a great job. They've welcomed me with open arms over the past year and have allowed me to give input from a city's perspective, as well as my chamber experiences from having been on the chamber in Raytown and here in Raymore as well as a private citizen and as a police chief previously. And it's been you're right, Eric, it's growing, and it's growing in its reputation with the community. It's growing in its membership, and of course the community itself is growing, and we really do appreciate those packets. And I apologize, I was out of town today and didn't get a chance to go by the office, but they had prepared, I'd asked them to prepare a new resident packet for each of you, and I will have that, and I'll have that for you at the next board meeting when we get together, just so you can see what that packet contains, so you can see the kind of promotional materials that they do prepare for us and promote the city of Raymore. Did you have questions, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That was a question I was going to ask, if we could get a copy of the packet to see what that looked like.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm remiss in doing that. I didn't get back in town in time to go over to the bank and pick those up where the chamber office is. By the way, do you know where the chamber office is located? Everybody know where that's at? It's over there at Country Club Bank, right there in the front corner. They just put up a new sign within the last, 3 months? 4 months, something like that?
Yeah, if not more recently.
So it stands out a lot better now that we have the sign up on the side of the building there. Sir?
One quick follow-on question. Is the chamber's role kind of restricted to advertising within the city and local current businesses and expanding them, or do you kind of broaden your highlights outside to the geographical region of Kansas City and such to highlight the city?
Yeah, I don't know that I'm the appropriate person here at the table to talk about regionalism and the like, but, you know, our focus is our chamber members and then the city of Raymore. That said, I think we all would agree all of those members and the city itself exists in a geographic area in North Cass County, the south part of the Kansas City metro area. And so a lot of our efforts are focused to the local businesses, to the Raymore community itself. We have many joint members that are members of both the Belton and the Raymore Chamber of Commerce. We interact with the Belton Chamber Board and their chamber and its members fairly routinely. And so while most of our efforts, you know, things designed to benefit the city focus here, there's certainly a more regional reach, I think, than just within the confines of the Raymore city limits.
Yeah, I mean, we actually have members from outside our community within the organization. Our website is in Greenwood, and they're members of the chamber. We have 2 members on the board. One is a banker out of Overland Park. Another is Donna? Is she from
Lake
Bank of
Lotawana.
Lake Lotawana? So, and both of those businesses are members of our chamber because they are in and around the Raymore area quite a bit.
Yes, I did see on the membership there were a few businesses that weren't, you know, Raymore proper address. That's obviously very encouraging to help with that membership. It's not just within the Raymore city limits, but it does expand beyond that. So thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.
As you've probably seen, we've had a coalition of chambers meetings on a quarterly basis where we rotate that so that we do promote that regionalism between, let's see, who are the chambers now?
Pleasant Hill, Peculiar, Belton, Raymore, and Harrisonville.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Kellogg.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And thank you, Eric, for being here tonight, and the other members. Appreciate you coming in and the report. Very well done, very, very concise. Thank you. The question I would have, and Eric, you may not know, but I'll ask, and that way you can ask, you go back. Is there an outreach that the chamber functions as to, like, our nearby larger employers? And I'll give an example. I work at Honeywell, and there is not usually, but there's oftentimes need for caterers and stuff like that from the surrounding communities. Even us as employees, if we don't want to eat in the cafeteria, Raymore is only 8 minutes away from the plant that I work. You know, I can get here and get back without taking longer than my half hour. And what I'm wondering about, is there any efforts for outreach to reach those employers like Honeywell, the Cerners, the bigger employers right in our regional area, that the chamber can highlight our businesses to help maybe draw some of those opportunities in for our businesses?
And I'm not aware of anything that exists like that right now. Now, when you talk about the Cerners, the Honeywells, you know, obviously those folks, I believe, speak with area municipalities about, you know, the amenities that might be available to their employees and what we have to offer. But in terms of a specific focused effort on behalf of the chamber, I'm not aware of any. I think, frankly, it's a good idea. It's not something I'd thought about. But attempting to, you know, spread the word of this group of chamber members here, group of businesses here, this community here, that has some offerings that might not cross folks' mind when they pull into the parking lot at Honeywell and thinking about a place to go stop and grab lunch, for instance.
Yeah, actually, one of the benefits of membership is that the referral is what Sherry does an awful lot. So if somebody calls and says, hey, have you got a caterer over there that'd be willing to cater to our business? If we have 3 caterers that are members, all 3 of those caterers are highlighted and provided information to that facility for that information. And we do get a lot of requests for referrals who are members of chamber, because a lot of folks want to deal and see as chamber members as a more reputable organization to deal with on a regular basis, and so they'll call the Chamber of Commerce and ask for that referral. And I know that Sherry does keep a quick list of different disciplines in order to refer those out to folks.
And thank you, Mr. Mayor. My point for asking it or suggesting it is because our location, and I'm big on, I think our marketing scheme, our new logo and all of that will eventually take off, and people will start recognizing, that Raymore is actually somewhere near, But I guess I don't know that I have a real warm, fuzzy feeling that these employers actually realize how close, how convenient, and how nice it is to be able to come here, And that's, I'm just, I can preach this all I can at the plant, and I do. But I'm quite sure that they get tired of seeing me and hearing my gospel. But, somebody as eloquent as yourself or even Eric, saying, selling that point to them, to not just my employer, but other employers, and getting the attention, say, you know what, these people are serious about that down there. Let's go see what they have. And that's my point. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr. Holman.
Just more of some information sharing. Thank you all again for being here. And you opened with talking about Centerview. One of the things I want to point out, when this body put together the slate of GO bond projects as well as the capital improvements that we add to each year, we consider the whole of our city, not just the individual citizens and families, but the businesses as well. And you've already seen the connection here between Centerview and the ability to have meetings and rent that space out for private events. I would hope that you would take back the information to the membership that we're going to be having a number of those amenities coming online in the next 6 to 18 months, I believe. Just for example, one of the smaller ones, the ice skating rink at TB Hanna Station. When they're done there, they're going to want to go and have a hamburger somewhere. They're going to want hot chocolate. If they fall down, they may need to go to your hospital and get an x-rayed. So, there's an opportunity there for the businesses to kind of partner with the city via the parks program and maybe do some small advertising, pass out some coupons, but certainly there's going to be a lot of traffic generated by those different venues as they go on concerts up here at the auditorium or amphitheater rather at Hawkridge Park. So I think that's one that sometimes the individual businesses tend to overlook. I know Councilmember Barber and myself have talked to a number of them, and when you begin to kind of put it in a context of this amenity is going to be within almost walking distance of your business, they start understanding that means increased business coming back to them, making their goals of year-over-year increase in sales. So just hope that's passed on, and anytime that they want information on our staff is more than willing to provide that to them and how they might be able to advertise and increase their business through that opportunity.
Mr. Moorhead.
Kind of a strange question because obviously you're going to say that the city works so well with you and so great. Are there any things the city is not doing well for you, or things that, like projects that could be better if the city was more engaged? Or is there any needs that we can help fill?
Well, since you've already qualified your question by acknowledging I'm going to give you lip service on this, no, I mean, at this point, I don't, if there were more that we could get from our relationship with the city, I don't know what it is. Mr. Fearborn was on the board previously. Mayor Turnbow stepped in. Matt's come on the board. The cooperation and the interaction that we have with those folks, not only with their chamber hats on, but also their representative of the city of Raymore hats on, has been phenomenal. And we talk a lot around the board. I think we talk a lot about, at membership meetings even, provide a lot of opportunities for our members to have some insight as to what's going on with the city, what role the city might have in the chamber, what role the chamber might have in the goings-on at the city. And right now, there's some strong relationships between the folks on the board, and it's led to a great free flow of ideas, and I feel like there's a lot of transparency between what's going on in this room and what's going on in the room across the street. So there's really not. The city's been a great partner. They have supported all of our endeavors, from ribbon cuttings to Facebook blasts and communications about what's happening in the city. I wouldn't know where to suggest improvement. Now, I'd be glad to pose the same question to the mayor.
Actually, I have a suggestion, and one that I'm hoping that you'll all take with you when you leave here, is that I know that Sherry, it gets a little frustrated sometimes when we, as elected officials or even individual ward members, have an activity that's going on in the community. They have an email push-out system that's phenomenal. With over 200 members, they've got almost 1,000 email addresses in their directory that, with just a push of a button, she can forward an email for notification purposes. It then involves all of the members of the chamber. So, you know, when we're doing ribbon cuttings, like we did the other day for our piece of artwork, we should have used the chamber to push that information out, and we didn't do it. We depended on our own, which is good, but we could have used them as an additional tool. And that's just one example that I think that we as a city can be a little better at, is including the chamber in those notification purposes. And if any of you have any activities or anything going on in your ward, your meetings, if you'd like to have some business participation for those businesses that sit in your ward, please let Sherry know, because as the largest contributing member to the chamber, they want to assist us in any way they can, trust me.
It's all very true, and Sherry does a fantastic job, and Debbie as well, with getting emails out promptly. There's a lot of folks on that contact list, so you're gonna definitely spread your reach. They also do a great job on the social media sites that we have. Twitter or Facebook. I'm not a social media sort, but they do a great job of pushing that information out, and we'd be happy to do that.
Okay, well, hey, thank you guys. We appreciate you being here tonight and taking some time out to spend with us, and look forward to a continued great relationship with the Chamber of Commerce.
Likewise, Mr. Mayor, thank you, and thank you all for your time.
Next item on our agenda is our upcoming calendar. As you know, there's several dates that are going to fall on Mondays upcoming, and I think Mr. Fearborn has some suggestions for moving some dates around and giving us a reprieve from time to time.
Thank you, sir. As I had kind of briefly touched on with the council at your regular meeting a couple of weeks ago, and I'll wait till Jonathan gets all the way around here.
Can I have another one, Jonathan? Thank you, sir.
Since I stole the mayor's. And I apologize for the smallness of the print here. But I had to fit all three calendars on one piece of paper. The date in December, the 25th, of course, is Christmas, and then that is actually, it's one of those odd ones. We are recognizing Christmas Eve, which is a holiday for the city. We recognize that on the 25th, and then we recognize the Christmas holiday on the 26th. I would recommend to the city council that meeting be canceled and not rescheduled, because it is just very, very difficult when you get that late in the week, and then it's just a Wednesday or a Thursday night becomes very, very problematic for a lot of folks. That would then be followed the next week on January 1st with a normally scheduled work session. Again, it is a holiday. Staff would recommend no city council work session to make up for that particular holiday. The next day of significance is the 15th of January, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Again, staff would recommend on this particular one that there be a makeup day on the 16th. There is currently nothing scheduled for planning and zoning on that evening. So as opposed to going the entire month of January without a work session, staff would recommend, if the council is favorable to that we meet on the 16th. And then on the 29th, which is actually the 5th Monday, staff would recommend no city council work session on the 5th Monday. That would be what I will refer to as the swing Monday. If we actually get overloaded I may come back to you and ask that you go ahead and have a meeting on that date if we get overloaded on topics, because it just happens sometimes. And then February 19th is President's Day, and staff recommends no council work session on the 19th. That would conclude staff report on this item, sir. We would look for input from the council and consensus on these recommendations at this time.
I think they're pretty good recommendations. Everybody good with all that? We got a thumbs up all around pretty much, so.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
That's right, on that fifth Monday, that's right.
If the list gets as long as my arm, I will. Yeah, he does.
Well, that's both items on the agenda. Is there one more thing?
I have one other.
Okay, go ahead.
In earnest, the Google folks began their work today. If you are north of 58 Highway in the Remington and Creekmore subdivisions, whole front yards bloomed flags overnight, and the streets are marked heavily. You'll notice down both sides of the streets when they get to your neighborhood, they are marking with about a 1 foot line, and they started off, they must have gotten some complaints because they started off about every 3 feet, and they would even go across the front of driveways, and it just looks like a hash mark. And then as they got later, and I noticed that this morning, and then later in the day, the work they were doing, it'd be like 2 marks in front of a house. So they really cut back on the amount of markings. The flag folks, you just can't do anything about those people, but it is, they're going to be covering easements. So you all will be hearing, because there's a lot of marking that goes on, and they have said that they are going to do coast to coast. The entire city will be under, Google intends to do the entire city, not just select subdivisions. Their salespeople are out hot and heavy at this point in time. They intend to, their goal is by January 1 to have laid all of the cable that they are going to lay.
Wow.
So it's an incredibly aggressive schedule.
Sounds like Sonia?
Is that what's going on at Horizon and Sandpiper as well?
It may be.
Flags and yards there.
It may be.
People wondered if that's what's happening.
I can find out on that one.
Thank
Let me
you.
take a look.
Mr. Kellogg?
Thank you. I'm going to comment. I'd much rather have phone call ask me what's going on out in front of their house rather than where is Google.
Mr. Burke?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Are they going to run any lines in the easement near Rec Park? Then we might have another option for our Wi-Fi that's in the works.
I don't know.
Because that would be a good question, maybe, of them.
I can
don't
check
know.
that. They're running that. The reason I say I don't know on that, under normal circumstances, I just nod yes because of the way they're saying they're just going to blanket the city. But there's not enough residential
past
down there that they would be getting to. They'd be coming in the other direction, actually.
But they could maybe do.
Mr. Berenson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. But when you say they're going to blanket the city, obviously they're going to not get every single house in the city. Are they going to get as far east as Jewetta, or do we know? We have any kind of a...
Actually,
I saw the map that it had out, but I didn't see Jewetta on that map.
With this new pass, they actually said coast to coast, north to south, east to west. Every house in the city.
Oh, fair enough. All right, thank you.
Now, Google has said things before, and we've learned the hard way.
I'll wait very patiently, sir. Thank you.
Yes, Sonia?
One more question, just because in Ward 4, we have some of the outskirts. So based on that, we would assume Ward Park Place, all the little pieces out on
We
our
even
end.
brought them up specifically, and they said yes.
Awesome, okay.
Mr. Burke?
Along that same line with Ward 4 there, we talk about services that people that voluntarily annex into the city would be provided with or afforded with, that might be another point.
Are
If,
they already covering parts of the county, though?
I don't think they're in the county yet.
They're not in the county?
They're looking strictly at city limits as they
Okay.
go.
Mr. Kellogg?
Mr. Mayor, Joe brings up a good point there. We do have an island over there, and I believe that's Ward 4 now, just northeast of the post office, that little island in there, I think there's like 4 lots in there now. A couple of them voluntarily annexed in a couple of years back, but there's still that island there. Will those people be able to get that service since?
Willow Hills?
Yeah, I believe that's possibly it.
Yeah, I think you're talking about the Willow Hills neighborhood, though. Yeah, they're covered. They're going to be in.
Okay, good.
They have one lot in Willow Hills that's never going to be in the city. It's that somebody's got their garden next to their house, and they own that lot. They're not going to sell it. So they may, for reasons unknown, they didn't bring it into the city. It's still in the county, so we've got a donut hole up there.
Just to be clear, they're laying the lines, the residents don't have to choose the service?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, in essence, they're putting in the water lines, but you don't have to buy the water in this case.
Okay, just want to be clear.
Anyone else?
That concludes all the staff reports tonight, sir.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything you want to bring up? If not, we're adjourned. Thank you.